You want to learn some fun facts on how to create a countertop with a rock face edge and a smooth edge? Stay tuned and enjoy the video. What's up guys? Kenny with RK3 Designs.
I'm Mitch with Stone Coat Epoxy.
Today we're going to show you how to do both epoxy edges on this one countertop. We're going to do a rock face edge.
And we're doing smooth edges on both sides.
We're going to show you both epoxy edges under 4 minutes.
All right, so step one, we're gonna round over the top and bottom, and then we'll grab that grinder and start working on that front edge.
Let's get the vacuum hooked up.
And PPE.
And PPE.
Whenever using, whenever making sawdust, always throw on your PPE. You don't wanna breathe any sort of dust.
Yeah.
Boom, let's go to work. All right, the next step in creating a rock face edge, we're gonna use this hand grinder and a cut saw blade. I picked these up on Amazon. They make real quick work out of grinding and making a natural rock face edge. You can also use like a metal fiber sanding disc. That's gonna be a little bit, take you a little bit longer. Both are gonna be pretty dusty, so for this step, be sure to wear that mask again. And to get us this far, you got MDF, you cut strips of MDF, wood glued and pin nailed those down.
Yes.
on all four sides, because then at this point, you could just go install this right in the customer's home.
This is ready to go, right?
Cool. So then we'll grind that front edge.
Then we'll Bondo.
Then we'll Bondo, let that dry. We're gonna Bondo side and then be a little more rough up here, right?
Correct.
Let that dry, sand it, and then it's undercoat time, right?
Yes, sir.
Sweet, let's roll.
Let's go.
Mask up. Bro, where did you get this? This is sick.
I bought this at an auto body store, but you can buy these online like Amazon.
Well,
that's a great place to get it.
All right, we're gonna leave a link in the description below to find this bad boy. It has hundreds of pages. You mix up your Bondo, you
Rip
peel
it
it
off.
and toss it. Epic.
Awesome.
And also these metal Bondo spreaders. If you do this for a living, which if you're handy, you wanna make some serious side money, come to one of the RK3 hands-on training classes. They teach you how to turn this into a viable business, and you're gonna have a head start on your competition. But grab these metal Bondo spreaders, they last forever. They're way better than the plastic ones.
Yeah, those plastic ones, they just tear up and they're so
and
hard.
And they leave a chatter on your edge, right?
This leaves such a great edge. It's
Dirt cheap for these on
Yeah,
Amazon too, right?
for sure.
Link in the description below.
All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the rock face edge. It's not gonna take a lot of Bondo because we've already done most of the work with the cut saw blade. So all we're gonna do is really just give it some definition and really just skim over the top. The main thing you wanna do is take out the line that are the two pieces are together. Yep. You wanna just make sure that you get the Bondo over that. Mm-hmm. Other than that, you're just gonna wanna skim it over. Yep. You can leave places where it's just the MDF showing. You don't have to cover it all.
Right, and don't be concerned. You'll see a little bit of the cut saw marks. That's almost like
it just gives it
a
the
mechanical
character,
bond,
right?
Too.
And that too,
the Bondo
right? Yeah,
bites really well into that. So
for sure.
All right, let's get mixing.
All right, let's do it.
How much do you mix up for something like this? Just a little blob, huh?
Yeah, I would probably say about a 3-inch circle.
It's good practice to give your Bondo a good mix. If you go pick this up at a hardware store, you don't know how long that's been sitting on there. So give it a good mix.
So the main thing is you want to get all those oils mixed into the Bondo. The same thing with the hardener. You want to make sure and knead this all really good so when you go to use it and you push up the hardener,
yeah,
it is like toothpaste, right? You don't want the watery ketchup look.
Yeah.
You want a solid piece coming out. So this is about the amount of Bondo that we're using.
I love the hardener that's different colors, man.
Yes.
That is perfect for beginners.
This is the, I would say, necessity of using whatever color, red or blue. Don't use the cream because you never know how much you're putting in there.
Right, but it also tells you when you're fully mixed, you'll have a uniform color.
You won't have any streaks. And that's the main thing, is that you don't want streaks in that. It's uniformed, and that's all you need to go. So we're gonna go about half the diameter of the Bondo.
Put a little snake in there.
Yep, so you can see what that looks like. And when you're mixing this, you need to knead it. Do not stir at this point of the mixture. Correct. Because if you stir it, you're gonna entrain bubbles. The other thing, depending on the temperature and where you're at, it's all gonna depend on how fast this is gonna set off. It's probably about 85 today here in the shop. And it's gonna set off pretty quick.
The tool of the trade is a gloved hand for the rock
Yes,
face,
for this,
it?
yes.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
see how I am skipping over areas, and I'm also putting some on the top. That's gonna give you a visual. Even though I'm gonna sand it down, you're still gonna be able to see that once you epoxy over that. And just make sure that you get the bottom as much as the top, because there are times where you just focus on the top and you don't get enough Bondo on the bottom, because you're gonna be able to sand that off.
Kenny, how long does it take until you can sand that Bondo?
A good 30 minutes, I would say, you could start sanding it. If you have more time, I think it's better. And just make sure before you start painting it that you let the Bondo off gas. That way you're not gonna have any issues on the next process when you're painting it. Because all that moisture that might be in the Bondo or in the wood is gonna be trapped in there, and that might cause some delamination. All right, so there it is. So that's how fast it's setting up. So one thing you're gonna be able to feel is your glove's gonna get really hard, and look how fast that's been, just a few minutes, and it's already setting up. So it's gonna be good. So now what we'll do is we'll roll it over. We'll show you the two smooth edges, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so now we're fixing to do the smooth edge. One trick that I have learned is that we're gonna use part A, which is resin. It doesn't matter what resin you use. You could use Art Coat, you could use Quick Coat, you could use Craft Coat. It doesn't matter, but as long as it's the part A, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna put about a dime size of resin in your Bondo before you put the hardener. You wanna put the resin in there, and what that's gonna do is gonna give you a little bit more working time, and also it's gonna give you a really smooth edge, and you're gonna see how nice that is. So we're gonna put the resin in the Bondo.
Just a little dime
Just a little
size, huh?
dollop will do you.
You mix it first
So-
and then add the blue?
Yes, you're gonna mix it first, because if you don't, then you don't have time to get everything properly mixed.
Yeah, you could see it.
You
get
could just see it
creamier.
right
Yeah,
away
that's cool.
how nice that is.
Does that help with like little micro bubbles, you think?
Micro bubbles, everything.
Nice.
Just everything in general.
That's a fun fact, pro tip, if I've ever heard one.
Exactly. So you could just see how nice and creamy that is. It's just silky smooth. So now we'll put the hardener in it. So now how I'm gonna apply this is I'm gonna push into the seam and just make sure I put a good coat of that on top.
What's the main reason you're putting Bondo in there? Why could you skip this step if you
No,
wanted?
because if you don't put Bondo over the seam, it's gonna go through the epoxy, and you'll see it down the road.
That little seam line will?
Yes, for sure.
Right.
So you just want to make sure, and be generous with the Bondo. You don't have to get it real tight. You just want to make sure that it's a nice even edge. And you can see there how nice and pretty that is. And then it's just very little sanding.
All right, we're gonna let this
right.
cure for about an hour or so. We'll be back for the
Yep.
next step.
See you in a minute.
Bye.
Hey you, if you like this video, pause the video right now, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for future notifications also.
All right, it's been about an hour. The Bondo's nice and dry. Kenny's gonna grab 100 grit on our random orbital sander. We'll sand this down nice and smooth, but we're not gonna take the Bondo all the way back to the MDF, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And then
Just
we're gonna,
where it's smooth.
then he'll do the same thing here on the rock face edge. We're not removing the Bondo. We're just gonna take away any of the real sharp points. We want some of this texture for visual interest.
Correct.
Let's get sanded.
All right, let's do this.
Fabrication's complete.
Bondo's done.
Yeah, job's almost done. At this point,
Yeah.
we're doing some undercoat and then the epoxy.
That's it.
So a couple pro tips when applying the undercoat to the rock face and your, straight edges where you have Bondo. The Bondo is much less porous than the MDF. So make sure the thin coat of the epoxy undercoat is fully dry.
Thin to win.
Thin to win, exactly. That's why we say that. It's thin to win. We want that first coat to dry. If you come back and that first coat isn't fully dry over the Bondo and you apply coat 2, you're trapping some moisture in there. And then if you come back over that with epoxy, that moisture is gonna want to escape. So stay thin to win.
Thin to win.
And then the project will be complete.
All right, guys, we're done with the countertop. As you can see, we got the Bondo done on the rock face and on the smooth sides. So the next step is to use the undercoat. Black, white, whichever one you want. The thing that you're gonna wanna remember is thin to win. You wanna put that first layer of undercoat really thin, just barely cover the surface. That way, when you put that layer, it's gonna dry a lot faster and you're not gonna trap any moisture in your project.
Guys, question of the day. Let us know in the comments below. Do you like the rock face?
Or the smooth,
Let us know
in the
below.
comments below.
Down there.
Right there. Yep. Well, guys, it's as simple as that. Rock face edge, smooth edge. Hope you learned some fun facts in the way that we did this. Until next time, don't be scared, move forward, and be creative.
You got this.
Adios!